Here we're given the graph of y equals x to the fifth and asked to graph p of x equals x plus 6 to the fifth. So y equals x plus 5 has been replaced. The x has been replaced by x plus 6. This is going to move the graph 6 units to the left. Now the graph originally went through 1, 1, 0, 0, and negative 1, 1, negative 1. So the new graph will be going through negative 6, 0, negative 5, 1, and negative 7, negative 1. The graph will look something like this. Should be the same shape as the original, moved 6 units to the left. Now we actually have 3 transformations in play when we see q of x equals 3 times x plus 2 to the fifth minus 64. Starting with y equals x to the fifth, the x has been replaced by x plus 2. Then that quantity is multiplied by 3. And finally, 64 is subtracted from the previous result. So this is going to have us move 2 to the left, stretch vertically, with a factor of 3, and then go down 64. So let's start with 0, 0. 0, 0. When we move left 2, we'll go to negative 2, 0. When we stretch by a factor of 3 vertically, 3 times 0 is still 0, so we'll still be at negative 2, 0. When we move down 64, we'll be at negative 2, negative 64. Now for the 1, 1, to the left we'll make negative 1, 1. Stretching by a factor of 3, we'll take negative 1 now to positive 3, and going down 64, we'll go to negative 1, negative 61. And the negative 1 will go to negative 3, negative 1, then negative 3, negative 3, and finally negative 3, negative 67. And so the graph is going to go through -1, -61, -2, -64, and -3. -67. This time there's been a vertical stretching. The graph will not look identical to the original graph. It will actually have been pulled apart vertically by a factor of 3. We're given r of x equals -1/2 times x minus 2 to the 5th. So starting with y equals x to the 5th, first of all, the x is replaced by x minus 2, and then that quantity is multiplied by -1/2. So in this case, again, I'll start with the 0, 0. We will be going, first of all, 2 to the right, so that will take us to 2, 0. But then, when we multiply the y value by -1/2, it actually is not affected. So 2, 0 will stay at 2, 0. When we look at 1, 1, it will first of all go to 3, 1, but it will then go, when the y is multiplied by -1/2, to 3, -1/2. The multiplying by -1/2 shrinks the graph vertically by a factor of -1/2. That -1/2 also flips over the x-axis. Our -1, -1 will go to 1, -1, followed by 1, +1/2. So here's our 2, 0. 3, -1/2. And 1, +1/2. This time, the graph is shrunk vertically as well as flipped over the x-axis and moved to the right. The last example is s of x equals -1/2 x minus 2 to the 5th plus 36. If we compare it with what we had above, we just have the plus 36 added. So this is going to take those final values and move them all up 36. So we're going to have 2, 0. We're going to have 236. We're going to have 1 36.5, which is 73/2. And we're going to have 3 71/2. Because the whole curve from the previous example is now moved up 36.